Hi there, I'm Drew Badger, the world's #1 English fluency guide, and in this video lesson we're going to be describing a knife. Wow. So this was actually a requested video, or a requested object, I should say. So this is a new video series where we're just trying to explain things in beginning, intermediate, and advanced English, just so you can develop fluency and see what it's like to express yourself and obviously learn a few new vocabulary words as well. So let's begin with a basic kind of definition or explanation about this knife. So this is a bread knife. I bought this bread knife in Japan, and it is a stainless steel bread knife made in Japan. It has a wooden handle, and it is maybe about a foot long, maybe 1 foot and a few inches long. I don't know what that is in centimeters, maybe, I don't know, 35 centimeters, something like that. So that is a basic way of expressing or describing a bread knife. Now, if I want to be a little bit more interesting, the intermediate way of expressing this would be, this is a bread knife with a serrated edge or serrated edge. Now, a serrated edge means that you have, instead of a flat surface like this side here, and I'll give you a closer look of the blade here, so you can see that the edges are serrated, so they go up and down, and they move in and out, in and out, in and out, this the way a saw blade does. So a serrated blade, the reason this is on a bread knife is because when you want to cut a piece of bread, if you have serrated edges like this, it makes the cut easier, but the cut becomes a little bit uneven. So it's easy to cut when you have a serrated edge, but the cut itself is not exactly as nice as it would be if you have a straight flat edge. So some knives have a straight flat edge or a cutting edge or a serrated edge like this. So I'm talking about even something, when you get into a basic definition or even an intermediate definition, you can get more specific about the particular parts of an object, like a bread knife. So I want to get, even more specific in the advanced way of talking about it. So I'm talking about from the knife and moving to the discussion of the serrated edge. So this is S-E-R-R-A-T-E-D, serrated. I believe that's the way to spell it. I'm really not the greatest speller, but hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to go into the advanced way, the fluent way of expressing this knife. So this is a fluent, or I don't even like thinking fluent now. So this is a knife that I picked up here in Japan. It's called bready. That's the name of the knife. A lot of knives in Japan, a lot of various objects actually have some really interesting names in Japan. People like a lot of cute names out here. But just to talk about this knife specifically, it's got a serrated edge. And the reason it has a serrated edge is because it's easier to cut for something like a bread, like a loaf of bread that can be kind of hard on the outside, but maybe soft on the inside. So if you have a flat cutting edge like that, it's easy to pull a knife through something, but it becomes more difficult because you have to flatten down the bread to push it down hard in order to get the cut into the bread. So a bread knife with a serrated edge makes the cutting easier. Now you'll see a serrated knife sometimes on scissors. So again, a serrated edge is something that's got a jagged edge like this. So it goes up and down. This edge, you couldn't really, it's serrated, but you wouldn't call it jagged. So a jagged edge is really hard, kind of zigzag shaped like that. And you would see that much more on maybe like a Swiss Army knife or some small knife that you want to have a good cutting pressure. So something that you can pull quickly and tear through something, but maybe the cut is not as clean as if you have a particular flat edge like that. So I'm just going into the details. I'm not really talking so much about the history of the knife or anything like that interesting about it, but just because when you look at an object, even something as simple as a knife, there's always something interesting to learn if you go deeper into that thing. So yes, this is a knife. It is a cutting edge and a handle, and that's basically every knife. But if you want to get more specific, you can learn a lot more about the serration of the knife, why we have a serrated edge, or other interesting facts about the knife. And that would lead you to discover more interesting things as well. Like the fact that bread knives are actually really good for cutting tomatoes. Because if you cut a tomato with a flat edge, you can cut a tomato like that, but it's much easier to just use a bread knife because of the serrated edges. that cut through the skin of the tomato without smashing the tomato. So if you've not tried a bread knife for cutting a tomato, you should give that a try. Anyway, that is describing a bread knife. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't be fooled, especially if you are the kind of learner that thinks, well, a knife is kind of boring. Why do I want to study that? The point of me using these simple objects in lessons is that it gives you an indication of how you can practice your English and how you can speak without using, something about politics or something like that. You really can take a simple object like a knife or a bottle or even a t-shirt like this and give a really great explanation and talk about it fluently. So find anything like that in your everyday life, learn about something, and then see how native speakers are expressing that thing. And that will give you a much better example of how to express it yourself. If you have enjoyed this video, do give it a like. Press that like button and go down in the comment section below this video. Let me know what you would like me to cover next. Or if you hate this video, that I should stop doing it. I got lots of people that really enjoy this series and some people that don't. But hey, hopefully it's helpful for you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Become a subscriber to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye. To continue learning, click on the link in this video to download Speak English Naturally, our free guide to speaking and sounding like a native English speaker. The guide reveals the 3 most important kinds of conversational English you must learn if you want to sound native, and will help you experience instant improvement in your fluency and speaking confidence. To download your free guide on a mobile device, click on the link in the upper right of this video. To download your free guide from a computer, click on the link in the lower right of this video. I look forward to seeing you in the guide.